The first search of John Wayne Gacy's house revealed three things detectives couldn't explain: a strange smell from the crawl space, a receipt from the pharmacy where Robert Peace vanished, a closet containing clown costumes and handcuffs. On December 21, 1978, Norwood Park, Chicago, the snow fell lightly on the quiet suburban streets, coating the modest homes with a pristine white blanket. Police cars lined the driveway of a single-story ranch house at 8213 West Somerdale Avenue. The property belonged to a local contractor and part-time clown named John Wayne Gacy. From the outside, the house looked unremarkable, just another middle class in this respectable neighborhood. Detective Joseph Kozenzak took a deep breath before entering the property. The air was crisp and cold, his breath visible in small clouds as he approached the front door. Neighbors had begun to gather at the edge of the property, whispering among themselves. Many knew Gacy as a friendly neighbor who hosted barbecues and performed as Pugo the Clown at children's parties. Gacy was cooperative and even charming. He offered coffee to the officers and answered questions with ease, maintaining that he had never met Robert Peace. His demeanor was so convincing that some of the young officers began to wonder if they were on a wild goose chase. But Detective Kozenzak knew something unsettling beneath Gacy's friendly exterior, a calculated darkness in his eyes when he thought no one was watching. The police hadn't arrived by chance. 3 days earlier, on December 18, 15-year-old Robert Peace had disappeared from Nissan Pharmacy in Des Plaines, where he worked after school. His mother had been waiting to drive him home but grew concerned when he didn't return from what should have been a short conversation with a contractor who had offered him a summer job. That contractor was John Wayne Gacy. When Miss Peace reported her son missing, she told police about the job offer. Detective Kozenzak quickly identified Gacy and discovered he had a previous conviction for sodomy in Iowa. This troubling history, combined with eyewitnesses who confirmed seeing Gacy speaking with Robert, led police to obtain a search warrant for Gacy's home. What began as a missing person investigation would soon unravel into one of the most horrific serial murder cases in American history. Inside the house was meticulously organized. Family photos lined the walls. Christmas decorations were already up. A tree standing in the corner of the living room. Wrapped presents beneath it. Everything seemed normal, perhaps too normal. The detectives moved through the house cautiously, looking for any sign of Robert Peace or evidence of foul play. As search continued, officers noticed a peculiar smell. At first, it seemed like it might be coming from the plumbing. Gacy had explained there had been some sewage backup issues. The odor was faint enough to dismiss initially, especially in the winter when windows remained closed and all houses often had musty scents. One officer mentioned it casually to Kozenzak, who made a mental note but continued the search. In the master bedroom, they found a high school class ring that didn't belong to anyone in Gacy's family. Gacy claimed it belonged to a friend who had left it behind. Officers backed it as evidence, not yet realizing its significance. The initial search yielded little concrete evidence linking Gacy to Robert Peace's disappearance. But Detective Kozenzak's instincts told him something was deeply wrong. He assigned the officers to conduct surveillance on Gacy while pursuing a more comprehensive search warrant. Over the next few days, they observed Gacy's movement and conducted background checks, and what they found was disrupting. In addition to his previous conviction in Iowa, they found out that several young men had filed complaints against Gacy, complaining that he had made unwanted sexual advances or assaulted them. Most of these complaints had been dismissed or not thoroughly investigated. On December 22, armed with new information on a more detailed search warrant, Detective Kozenzak and his team returned to the house on West Somerdale Avenue. This time, they focused on the crawl space beneath the house. The smell that had been dismissed days earlier was now unmistakable. The sickly sweet odor of decomposition that every experienced detective knows too well. When they opened the small access door on the floor of Gacy's home, the stench hit them with overwhelming force. One officer shined his flashlight into the darkness, revealing what appeared to be a human arm partly buried in the dirt. Time seemed to stand still as the officers processed what they were seeing. Then, methodically, as their training demanded, they began the grim process of digging. What they found beneath John Wayne Gacy's house would haunt them for the rest of their lives. One body after another, some so decomposed that they were little more than skeletons, others killed more recently. The crawl space had become a mass grave for young men who had crossed paths with the friendly neighborhood contractor. As night fell on December 22, police had uncovered 3 bodies. By Christmas Eve, the count had risen to 9. The holiday season that should have been filled with joy became a nightmare for the officers working on the case and the families whose missing sons would never return home. Gacy, now in custody, began to talk, his confession as methodical as his killings. Detailed, emotionless descriptions of how he lured the young men into his house, often with promises of alcohol or construction jobs. He described how he tricked them into handcuffs as part of a magic trick, before sexually assaulting and murdering them by strangulation with a rope. He called his rope trick. When asked why he buried the bodies under his house, Gacy replied with chilling practicality, "It was the only place I had to put them." The excavation continued through January 1979. In total, 29 bodies were recovered from Gacy's property, 26 from the crawl space, 1 from beneath the concrete surface of the garage, and 2 from elsewhere on the property. Gacy also confessed to throwing 4 additional bodies in the Des Plaines River when the crawl space became too full, bringing his victim count to 33. Among the victims was Robert Peace, whose disappearance had instigated the investigation. His body was one of those disposed of in the river, wasn't recovered until April 1979. Gacy's crime deeply shocked Chicago and the entire nation. It was hard to believe someone who volunteered as a clown at Children's Hospital, was active in local politics, and appeared to be a respected citizen could be behind such horrific acts. His case revealed disrupting flaws in the criminal justice system and forced Americans to face a chilling truth. Monsters don't always look like monsters.